Shame on you, teachers. It seems to be some kind of a trend lately. I'm not really sure why, but it is. And I'm here to say I'm ready to stop the narrative that's going on and change it. That's my goal. That's my mission. I'm here, and my channel has always been about helping teachers and helping students learn, and will continue to be that way as long as I'm on YouTube and I'm trying to help teachers improve their craft with strategies and tactics. That's always been my mission and always been what I've been about. But this narrative that's happening online has become so troubling for me. And I decided that I want to take this narrative and change it. I want to be the positive voice and the positive person behind what's happening online and just what's happening in the world. So you may know or you may not know that there has been a ton of press and discussion and animosity and anger in the online world and in the education world lately about reading instruction and how it's failing our children. And I want to address this, and I'm hoping to help teachers and children. That's my goal, and that's what I'm planning on doing. So as you can see on the screen here, I'm showing you a podcast episode. It's actually 6 episodes called Sold a Story. It was created by a journalist, and she has some amazing points and opinions about how reading has been taught in schools and how we were sold a story on how children learn to read. And there were many, many parts of this podcast that I absolutely was astonished by, agreed with. And of course, there were parts of it that I felt a little uneasy about. But it's not really just about this podcast, which I absolutely urge you to listen to, because I think the more education we have, the better we become as educators and as parents that help our own children. So I urge you to check out this podcast called Sold a Story, as well as read the article I'm going to post below. It's about the reading wars. So this has been happening now in education for a couple of years, but it's really starting to infiltrate the online world right now and the online education world. And I felt it was necessary to address it and talk about how I'm going to try and be a positive force in this animosity that's happening online. And that's what the next 6, 10, I don't know how many videos it's going to be, but that's what this entire series is going to be about. The goal is to help teachers teach all of their children. That's the goal. So what my plan is to create the next however many videos I do to help you start thinking about the science of reading and structured literacy and how you can bring it into your classroom methodically and not feel so overwhelmed in the process. Because I feel like that's always the problem. You know, everything is, this is terrible, this is horrible, this is harming children, get rid of it, throw this out. And those types of things just really upset me as an educator and as a parent and as a person. And I want us to address the science of reading that is really now come to the forefront about how we should be teaching children to read, and start learning about it and start making some shifts in our classrooms and even with our own children at home to help them become amazing readers that love to read. And unfortunately, we have that huge pendulum swing, and that's what's happened in education forever. I've been in education for almost 30 years now, and the pendulum swings keep going back and forth. My feeling is this isn't necessarily a pendulum swing, but it is something that we need to address because we're not teaching children how to read effectively. So let's look at the research. Let's listen to the research. Let's stop arguing online because we're trying to defend what we've done for so many years. And let's just learn about it together and figure out how we could best implement these practices in our classroom based on scientific research and based on how the brain learns to read. And that's my goal within these next few videos, is about helping you make small incremental shifts in your teaching and in your instructional practices practices that will hopefully ease you into changing how we do things in the classroom. Now, I want to tell you, I was a balanced literacy teacher my entire career. When I first started teaching, my first year of teaching 80,000 years ago, it was very heavily phonics based, very isolated skills. Then I moved into another school of the district and it was whole language. And whole language is about whole word reading. And then it kind of morphed into balanced literacy. But my belief is that balanced literacy has become synonymous with the 3 cueing system. And I disagree with that. Do I think the 3 cueing system was promoting guessing of words children don't know? I do, absolutely. But I believe balanced literacy is so much more than that. I believe balanced literacy is about creating a literate environment in your classroom with wonderful books and read alouds and writing and sharing the pen and writing stories with your students and doing trade books and big books and read alouds and shared reading. That's what I believe balanced literacy was. But it's become synonymous with the 3 cueing system. So with that, we need to start looking at our practice and saying, okay, what were the amazing parts of balanced literacy, and not throw those out. We could keep those parts to our classroom, but we also need to take into consideration the research behind the science and really restructure our teaching methodologies and our teaching practices to align with the research. And that's what the rest of these videos are going to be about. It's about altering and changing and making small shifts in our instruction to align with the science of reading until we're ready to go all in. So that's what this is about. This is about making small incremental changes in our instructional practices in our classroom until we're ready to really dive all in, because change takes time. And that's something that's starting to wear on me in the education world online, on the internet. It's you're doing harm if you don't do this. You have to throw out your leveled readers and you have to throw out what you've been doing, and you need to change everything in your classroom. That is not how real life works. Change must be incremental in order to stick. In order to get buy-in, we must make incremental changes that are doable and feasible and not overwhelm teachers because they're already overwhelmed. So that's my goal with these next few videos in this playlist, is about helping you make incremental changes in your instructional practices without feeling overwhelmed. So this is a safe space. That's what I'm here to tell you. My channel, my teaching, my instruction is a safe place. And I'm tired of the narrative about who's to blame. Teachers are to blame. Administration is to blame. Curriculum creators are to blame. Corporate curriculum companies are to blame. The government is to blame. That's the problem. Forget the blaming and let's learn and start making some incremental changes and stop arguing online, because I am going to stop arguing online because it's not healthy for our mental health, as I'm sure you all know, and it's not productive. So let's get productive, let's be intentional, and let's start making some small shifts in our teaching to align with the science and get our students to read. All of our students, not just 75 or 80% of them, and that last 20% that are having severe learning issues or dyslexia, right? We want to make sure we're teaching all of our students. And the way we do that is through incremental change and focusing on the science. So that's the goal of the next few lessons in this playlist, is I am going to give you some small shifts you could make until you're ready to go all in with structured literacy. And that's the goal. So I hope you'll join me on this journey. I hope you'll block out the noise that you hear online and stop trying to defend yourself. I'm going to stop that as well because I'm tired of it and it's not good for our mental health. What we need to do is think about the most important thing here, and that's the children. The children, our students, need to be first and foremost on the top of our list. And what are we going to do to address this issue that 1/3 of fourth graders can't read? or are reading way below grade level. That's what we have to address. So let's start doing it together. We're in it together. I'm with you, and I'm here to help support you in this transition of moving towards the scientific research on how the brain learns to read and bring those instructional practices into your classroom. So I hope you'll join me on this journey. I hope you get a lot out of it. And I want you to know I'm here to support you. This is a non-judgment zone. It will always be a non-judgment zone. And I hope you'll join me in these next few videos on how we can make some changes in our classroom to make sure we're doing what's best for our students. So thank you. Head on over to video number 1. I would love for you to join in on this playlist of videos to move more towards a structured literacy approach in your classroom that's based on the science of reading research. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for everything you do for your students in your classroom each and every day.